Welcome to IELTS 17 Test 2 Passage 2, a second attempt at domesticating the tomato. This passage has 13 questions, including information location, researcher matching, and sentence completion. All questions belong to the keyword location type. You need to quickly find specific information in the passage. Mastering keyword location skills helps you find answers quickly and improve your efficiency. The passage has 5 paragraphs, from A to E. It talks about how scientists used CRISPR to re-domesticate tomatoes. From passage 1 to 3, introduces traditional domestication and CRISPR technology, and the results of new research. From passage 4 to 5, introduces another team's attempt to domesticate ground cherries, and future prospects. From passage 6 to 9, discusses the potential, challenges, and possible applications of the new technology. The heat map shows that most questions are concentrated in passages C and E. You should read them carefully. Let's look at question 14. It asks us to find a type of tomato that can resist a dangerous infection. The key words are resist and dangerous infection, and we are looking for a tomato type. Paragraph C mentions creating a tomato strain resistant to bacterial spot race. So the answer to question 14 is C. Let's look at question 15. It asks you to find which paragraph explains the problems of focusing only on one type of tomato. Please pause the video and try to locate it yourself. The key idea in the question is problems and focusing only on a certain type of tomato. The keywords are problems and focusing only on a certain type. Scanning paragraph B, we find every time a single plant with a mutation is taken from a larger population for breeding, much genetic diversity is lost. This directly matches the idea of problems from focusing on one type. So the answer to question 15 is B. Let's look at question 16. Find which paragraph mentions examples of plants that are not grown now but could be food sources. Please pause the video and try to locate it yourself. The key point is to find examples of plants. The keywords are not cultivated and food sources. We need to look for specific plant names. Scanning the passage, paragraph E clearly mentions foxtail, oatgrass, and cowpea as plants that could become mainstream. These are exactly the examples we need. So the answer to question 16 is E. Let's look at question 17. It asks you to find which paragraph compares the early domestication of the tomato with recent research. Please pause the video and try to locate it yourself. The key words in the question are early domestication and recent research. We need to find a paragraph that mentions both the 3,000-year domestication and the 3-year re-domestication. Scanning the passage, paragraph A's first sentence says it took 3,000 years to domesticate the wild tomato. The second sentence says 2 teams did it again in less than 3 years. This is a direct time comparison. So the answer to question 17 is A. Let's look at question 18. It asks you to find which paragraph contains a personal reaction to the taste of a genetically edited tomato. Pause the video and try to locate it yourself. The key words in the question are personal reaction and flavor. We need to find a sentence in the passage that describes someone's feeling after tasting a tomato. Scanning the passage, paragraph C contains a direct quote from Georg Kudla, "They are quite tasty. A little bit strong. And very aromatic." This perfectly matches the question. So the answer to question 18 is C. Next, let's move on to the features matching section for Q19-23. Let's look at question 19. Domesticating certain plants could help them adapt to future environmental challenges. Please pause the video and try it yourself first. The key clue is adapt to future environmental challenges, meaning plants can handle climate change. Look at paragraph E. Gao says choosing drought or heat-tolerant wild plants can create crops that thrive when the planet warms. This matches the question perfectly. So the answer to question 19 is B. Let's look at question 20. The statement says that growing and eating unusual plants may not be accepted on a large scale. Please pause the video and think about it first. The core of the statement is large-scale acceptance and unusual plants. We need to find which researcher doubts large-scale acceptance. Locate paragraph E. Jonathan Jones says it will be hard for new foods to become popular staple crops, showing he doubts large-scale acceptance. So the answer to question 20 is D. Let's look at question 21. The statement says, it is not advisable for the future direction of certain research to be made public. Please pause the video and think about which researcher holds this view. The core idea is, making future research directions public is not wise. The keywords are not advisable and made public. Locate paragraph E. Kudla did not want to reveal which species his team was targeting, because CRISPR has made the process so easy. So the answer to question 21 is A. Let's look at question 22. The statement says that the cost of licenses and regulations makes further work to domesticate a wild fruit very expensive. Please pause the video and choose the correct person from A to D. The key ideas in the statement are cost and expensive. The person we need must clearly mention that their research or domestication work is limited by costs. Now scan paragraph D. It mentions Joyce Van Eck. She says taking the work further would be expensive because of the need to pay for a license for the CRISPR technology and get regulatory approval. This perfectly matches the statement. So the answer to question 22 is C. Let's look at question 23. Humans only use a small part of the plant food available on Earth. Please pause the video and choose the correct person from A to D. The core of the statement is humans only use a small part of plant food. Keywords are small part and plant food. At the end of paragraph A, Georg Kudla says, there are 50,000 edible plants in the world, but 90% of our energy comes from just 15 crops. This directly supports the statement. So the answer to question 23 is A. Next, let's move on to the completion section for Q24-26. Let's look at question 24. This is a note completion question. The statement says that tomato strains grown for supermarkets have lost much of their flavor. The blank comes after have lost much of their, so we need a noun. Flavor is a noun meaning taste, and it fits the grammar perfectly. The key words in the question are tomato strains and supermarkets. Let's go back to paragraph B and find the sentence containing these words. The original text says, the tomato strains grown for supermarkets have lost much of their flavor. Notice that the word flavor is directly given in the original text, no need for synonym replacement. So the answer to question 24 is flavor. Let's look at question 25. The statement says they tripled the size of fruit by editing a gene called fruit weight. The blank is after size of, so we need a noun. Grammatically, size of is followed by a noun, meaning the size of something. The word size before the blank is a key clue, telling us to look for a word related to size. The statement mentions the gene fruit weight, so we go to paragraph C. The first sentence says, Kudla's team made 6 changes altogether, then gives an example, they tripled the size of fruit by editing a gene called fruit weight. The original text says, they tripled the size of fruit. Notice the word size appears directly here. The blank in the statement is right after size of, so the answer is size. This word is directly given in the original text, no need for synonym replacement. So the answer to question 25 is size. Let's look at question 26. This is a completion question. The statement says they created another strain that is more salt tolerant and has higher levels of vitamin C. The word before the blank is more, and the word after is tolerant. So the blank should be a noun or adjective that shows what they are tolerant to. Based on the keyword vitamin C in the question, we locate the last sentence of paragraph C. The original text says, they also created another strain that is more salt tolerant. Notice that salt is directly given in the original text, no need for synonym replacement. So the answer to question 26 is salt. Now let's summarize the key strategies for this passage. Trick 1, opposite meaning replacement. The test maker uses words with opposite meanings. For example, question 24 says resist a dangerous infection, but the text says resistant to a common disease. Trick 2, wrong subject or made-up information. The question mentions something not in the text. For question 25, it says problems from focusing on a certain type, but the text says genetic diversity is lost. Trick 3, synonym replacement. The question uses different words to express the same idea. For question 26, it says future environmental challenges, and the text says thrive even as the planet warms. Remember, for true/false questions, first find the text, then check if it matches. Now let's review the key vocabulary and paraphrases from this lesson. Key terms: flavor, size, salt. Paraphrases: resist left-right arrow resistant, problems left-right arrow genetic diversity lost. This lesson ends. Keep practicing.